What's the deal with that guy's white socks? Yeah, I actually had a student ask me that in the beginning of my teaching, maybe pretty close to the beginning of my teaching career, full time. Looked at that, look at that of Louis Armstrong over there. What's the deal with that guy's white socks? Okay? And I never noticed the white socks. I never saw it. And I couldn't believe it. And I go home, and my wife, who taught for 35 years, preschool, developmental kids, ADD, ODD, ADHD, all types of acronyms flying around our house, having conversations about education and kids. I go in and I tell her, and she's been teaching for years. I'm just off the road, and now I'm teaching, and I say something stupid like, these kids today, they don't get anything. This one kid didn't know anything about Louis Armstrong, and they don't understand Count Basie. They don't understand Duke Ellington. These kids don't understand blah, 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 blah. And I was doing what I think what a lot of players do when they start to teach is it's pretty easy to blame a culture for what they don't know. It's not a good thing. And I was in the middle of trying to figure out, my place in teaching and all that. So I'm telling her, I said, these kids, they don't get this, they don't get that, they don't understand these great players, they're blah, blah. And she's just listening to me, sitting at the butcher block table, letting me talk. And I realized, you know what, this is, if you're the only one talking after 2 minutes, nobody's listening. So I said, what? She goes, no, nothing, just listening to you talk. And I'm thinking, well, what do you mean? These kids, they don't know anything. And she just, and I'm like, okay, all right, let's have it. And I'm ready to get skewered. And, she taught for years, so she says, it's not the kids that don't get it. You're the one that doesn't get it. You don't get it. These kids are fine. They don't need anything that you're teaching. Everything that you're into doesn't even mean anything to them unless you make it relevant to them. Nothing's relevant. Your job isn't to give information out. Your job is to make it relevant, so they want to know. So they want to know it. And she said, they're not the ones with the problem. You're the one with the problem. And if you want to teach, you can't blame the kids. The kids are fine. They don't need anything you have to offer. They really don't. They're fine. And I was like, holy smokes. I'm looking for pity. I'm not getting it here. So then she said, 90% of education is getting their attention. The other 10 is just stuff you can learn from a book. The facts are easy. Getting them to be interested in this stuff is the real trick. And she was right. The students, they didn't have the chance to experience what I experienced growing up. So when you're teaching them, and I notice every 7 years or so, there's a whole new culture that comes in that just is interested in a completely different set of topics and rules and habits and what they listen to, and there's a lot of things that are different. When I was younger, we would listen in a group. All of us would get together, get some beer, get some pizza, put on recordings and listen together. But they don't do that now. Everybody has headphones, so they listen by themselves. The social thing is kind of missing. And there's also, quite a few other things. So it's interesting. About every 6, 7 years, I have to totally change everything I'm doing because of the kind of culture that comes in. And there's no blame. I have to change in order to keep teaching. But I thought, here I was looking for pity, and don't marry. If you want pity, don't marry a smart woman, because it ain't coming. But it was really made me think about this whole teaching thing, that it's always changing. What's coming in is different. I caught the big band there as it left the room. Duke was still around. Oh, no, not Duke. Count Basie was still around. Woody Herman, Stan Kenton, like Maynard, obviously Buddy Rich. We saw them all. We saw them. Now, that's just part of the history books. So to expect the kids to come with any kind of similar like experience or knowledge, it took me a while to get used to it. Made me realize that it's more introductory now than before, when we all kind of knew it and saw it and heard it, and we just needed some place to practice it. Now it's, let me show you what's so great about what you never saw. And that's kind of what it is, and that's basically what it is. But it took me a while to get it. And the idea is to get them to be interested in it. And how can you do that? That's the teaching trick. 90% of teaching is getting their attention. There it is. What's the deal with that guy's white socks? Here, I was mad at this kid because he didn't know Louis Armstrong. How can this kid know Louis Armstrong? Louis Armstrong might as well be Napoleon or Caesar. To this, there's no connection. So, anyway, if you want pity, don't marry a smart woman, because the pity ain't coming.